Good evening, everybody, and welcome tonight to the update. We are day 37. Can you believe 37 days in a row? Honestly, when this started, initially, with the initial onset of the attacks, I did not believe we would be 37 days and in. I did receive a message today from Pastor Rostislav Kudin. He was on the way to the border for a meeting, and he messaged me and he says, Greg, I just want you to know that we deeply appreciate you streaming every night, and of course the community raising money to support. As you know, we're supporting Zhenya and the shelter and our humanitarian aid there for refugees and for soldiers and for infrastructure, but as well we also support Rostislav Kudin and Dawn of Life, Valentina Melnick. The list is probably going to get longer, and that's okay because we're raising great amount of money, and it's all going there, plus more. Bill Schwartz, I see you checking in from Belgium. You're going to want to hear from the guy tonight. You have a common friend. In fact, Zhenya, you may have been there. So, folks, we're all prepared. We've got a full night tonight, and Zhenya's going to be with us on this Friday night, and then probably the Saturday and Sunday updates. We'll do a video with him and look to get him back on Monday night live. So for the hour, fortunately, he's here, and we're going to go ahead and jump to it because I'm not sure how long. Hopefully he's going to be able to stay and everything's okay, but under air siren right now. Hey.
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 Hello from Ukraine.
Hello from USA. Are we safe on the warning siren?
At this moment, let's say there is. Okay, I'm checking.
I just got him out of the bed. We were prepped for the program about 3 hours ago, and then he sets 2 alarms, and I call him. Go ahead and flip. Yeah, air raid siren. And he, Zingster, thank you for that super there. Jeremy Teeple, Ontario, Canada. Lots of you folks are in here tonight from all over the world, really. Europe, Asia, North America, of course, all over the U.S. Thank you guys on all the platforms. Tonight's going to be special, of course, as it always is when we're live. So I call him about 10 minutes before go time because we're already ready to go. And we've already got our script for the night and everything we want to cover. And he goes, man, we got an air raid siren right now. I said, well, do whatever you have to do. But stay safe. So we're going to go with it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything is okay over the next hour. We do know that the air ministry, the air attacks have cranked up a lot. So we have, Jaka, 10 things. First of all, let's do this. Bill Schwartz in Belgium is watching right now in the middle of the night. That is where Oleg went. And maybe you've met Pastor Bill Schwartz. I can't remember, or you've communicated with him, but he's in Belgium. Regardless, hello to Bill.
Hello to Belgium.
And they're very connected to Ukraine. And we love the ministry of Bill Schwartz. He's actually been on my program before. He's a wonderful man of God. Secondly, Larry and Deborah are in here tonight. Big shout out for Larry and Deborah from you, please.
Hey, Larry and Deborah, very special. Hello.
Okay, we've got all the hellos out that we've got to do, and everybody else, as we're talking, I'll be looking for all the chats and try to throw stuff up the best I can. But thank you. Don't want to waste any time tonight with Zhenya. So let's start here. We've got 10 things we're looking at tonight, and the main topic is the war of propaganda. We're going to deal with that. That was the title of the program, and the propaganda affects the entire world. completely. Of course, the war, but we'll get into that. Let's start here. How are you? How is the shelter? How are people? All of those things that we like to ask when we start. What do you think of my shirt?
Okay. Героям слава. Героям
Slava
слава.
Ukraina. Geroim Slava. How are you? How's the
Okay.
ministry? How are things?
Thank you. Miss is going well. Today we were working with, like, let's say, a refreshing today. One of the shelters, shelter number 3, because like the week 5 days ago we had some situation with the virus, so we need to clean it special way a few days to make sure that we are ready to have it full again with the people, because the last few days we could have only the people like we had already like 5 days ago. So today we did everything we wanted. It's prepared. From tomorrow we can pack it, let's say, again.
Good. So
So it was good. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
turns from a hospital
It,
back into a refugee center starting tomorrow.
correct.
Okay,
It
good.
was a it was a joke of one of the doctors from ambulance. We called the ambulance a few times to play for the kids. So now it's good, and we work with documents to helping one family to adopt the child. And I will tell the story, and you are becoming a great part of that process,
Well, I think we
and
ought to
it will
start
be
there. If you don't mind, you can just give a little overview.
okay.
Let's keep it quick because, um, this is the positive. This is the good news of the ministry of what we're doing as an international community to help support Ukraine, to support the refugees, to support the war, to tell the truth. But a few of the things that you and I are going to get into tonight, they're not as nice and happy. So
Hmm.
let's start happy, and we're going to end happy, and in the middle, we'll deal with some goofy stuff. So why don't you tell everybody, take a minute, and not only are we feeding people, clothing people, buying supplies, repairing cars that have been destroyed, et cetera, all of that. But we're also helping in an adoption process. Can you take a minute and explain it?
Yeah, there is a family. They're Christians, and it's great people. I will make short this story short. Well, but a few days before the second wave of the war started, I mean, before the 24th of February, they got in situation that where they had to make a decision about adopting child, the boy, with the age of 4 or 5, and they had to make this decision, and they did make, and then they all a lot of services and database are got down, and so they had a baby on the lap, let's say, and yeah, I'm listening the
I hear it.
sirens, and and they couldn't do a lot of decisions, a lot of process because of the war, and we were really trying to do helping to find proper connections, proper services, who can help until yesterday. And yesterday we got the first good results, and we got a plan, and with involving different people, we got, let's say, clear plan. And now we're helping practically, and we hope during quite short time they will have all things prepared, and we will help them to adopt the child. That's it. It will
And
be
we
officially
were
confirmed.
the finances that were necessary due to the war. This man lost his job, and was unable to
Yes.
do the finances. And through all of us, we were able to help complete that adoption. So thank you. The finances are
Yes.
covered, and that baby, that child, is taken care of. So listen, I can hear the sirens going off. Well, is Grandma and Grandpa there with you?
Yeah. They're annoying. They're annoying. They know what to do. So this moment they did what had to do. So it's okay. So I okay.
Are you near an interior wall?
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay. Let's say. Let's do it like this. Sorry. Uh, to make it properly. Okay. Let's do it like this. Is it okay for you?
Sure.
Okay. Then
Now you're in
okay. Maybe
a
my
safer place?
yes. So this is okay. Sorry for the camera view.
It's okay. Folks, just so you understand, I mean, I've got earbuds in, and Jania has earbuds in, so I can hear clearly with all the back, and the sirens are
Okay,
wailing.
man. Let's do it. Let's do it for a minute. Just if it.
There you go.
For a second. Okay.
Well, if anybody doubts this is not live and real, sorry, this is the truth. And this is what they live under. All right. Tonight we're going to
So
talk about yeah.
praise God for possibility to help the family, and I think when we'll have we will go through the whole process. We will send the pictures and the videos and some interesting facts about that. So this is why I didn't want to go deep in details.
I
But
understand, but it's nice to tell
it's
people.
great.
Okay,
Yes.
let's talk about the power of propaganda. That's number 2 on our list tonight. We've got a top 10 things we're going to talk about. While we prepare for that, I'm going to fling a 1-minute propaganda clip that shows a comparison between Nazi Germany and what is happening today in Russia and the war in Ukraine. So you're going to have about 60 seconds if you want to try to solidify that camera. I'm going to roll that video now. You know it. So, Jacob, that's just a sample. You're living in it, and everything we just showed there on that comparison between World War II and this war in Ukraine right now in 2022, very similar. The use of the letters Z, the letters V, the training of the school kids, the people making the symbols, the flags, the rallies. You know, we're seeing a repeat. And yes, you got a question here. I think, do sometimes you guys go to blackout? You have to turn the lights out on air raid sirens?
Yes. Right now, like in all my place, all the rooms,
Lights are
I
off.
using just lights are off, and I'm using just like minimum light, let's say, like a lamp, the table lamp, and all the curtains or all the possible things are like on the windows. It's closed, so
It's
it's
dark.
shaded. So there is no, yeah, it's dark, and there is no lights going out of my place.
All right. So propaganda. I want to start with this one. Many people don't know about this, but just over the last few days, bot farms in Western Ukraine have been discovered and disabled. And these are the computer farms, basically, is what they call them, where fake accounts of people created by Russian military, Russian government in Western Ukraine created all these fake Instagrams,
Mm-hmm.
fake Facebooks, fake vkontak.ru, all these fake. And it was like the Ukrainians were screaming, come save us, come save us. And none of this is real. Every bit of it is generated by computers. And now the the Ukrainian Defense Forces and all the guys that are involved in the hacking part of the war, like Anonymous and other organizations, are just demolishing those places. But this is what's happening with the propaganda. So from being there and seeing the propaganda, you know about everything I'm talking about here. How real and how powerful is the propaganda war?
Uh, so, like, I mean, it's probably you have the same probably situation in the United States. Then when some rich people and basically political party in the end, they owns TV channels and they stream whatever they want to stream. We had it even during 8 years of the war. From 2014, we had it in Ukraine until this phase of war. And when it's happened, so all channels had to switch to one program. If we can understand all our channels now streaming the same program.
In Ukraine right
It
now.
means in Ukraine, doesn't matter who owns the program, the channel, they streaming together and they changing each other, but it's one stream.
But is that
And one
you're
person,
talking about for Ukraine to tell the truth?
yes. So the channels who was streaming absolutely pro-Russian position are down. It's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the channels who was streaming, let's say, sometimes pro-Russian video, let's say they are streaming right now 100% the same as others. It just copy. It's one stream goes to different channels. And all political party who was supporting Russia and representing Russian interests in Ukraine are illegal. They are not working anymore.
They're
It's about
canceled.
8 or 10 political
And
parties.
I've been there so many times during elections. It's crazy. The flags everywhere. The Communist Party. You see everything. Um, I'm sure you gave all of the Americans in here tonight a good laugh because we have an international audience now, and tomorrow the Ukrainians will be watching. But tonight, when you made the statement, I'm sure you have the same thing in America where rich people own stations and they broadcast whatever they want. Are you saying we're corrupt over here as well?
It's not about that.
That's okay,
I hope
man.
you understood. You understand
We understood you.
me
It was good.
right.
It was good. It's worth a smile.
But it's the same. It's just a
It
tool,
is
you
the
know.
same.
And they, yes, I think the same. But there is limits. In here, it was like channels representing the interest of not Ukrainian interest. It's like for you to have some channels who are like, I mean, trying to do something to divide the country, to support some annexion, whatever. You wouldn't have it. Years.
Andrea Shof is dropping the Ukrainian on us. Wow. You see it? I have it in the comment there. I can't read
Gonna read.
Ukrainian. I can only read Russian. But thank you for that. While you were sleeping, Jania, 3 major things happened. You probably don't even know because you got up right before we went live, and you were under air raid siren yourself. So, while you were sleeping, 25 missiles were fired from Belarus into Ukrainian territory. There were 5 hits in Dnipro. They were able to shoot some down, but Dnipro has been hit 5 times, and Kryvyi Rog has been hit tonight. Odessa has been fired at, but they were able to shoot it down. And the death total in Mykolaiv was raised to 29, where they destroyed the governmental building. So those were some things happening while you were sleeping. But that leads us to the next thing, topic number 4 tonight. Troop rotations and wave 2, nonstop missile, nonstop air attacks. Really, we could call it wave 3 because wave 1 of this war was in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea and the movement into Donetsk and Lugansk. The second phase we could call was the actual invasion, February the 24th. But now, let's go ahead and, for you and our sake, because the war really started in 2014. Now, full-blown war, but this rotation, the world is looking at, the news is looking at it and go, hey, everybody's pulling their troops out, and we're making progress. In fact, I was watching a video today, and for those of you that are in here as a part of the IA family watching, I was watching I was driving. I had to go to the airport and back to take my brother-in-law. I popped into a finance video to take a break from Ukraine and the war for a moment, and they were in there chatting and talking, so excited because Russia was pulling their troops out, meaning the war would be over soon and the stock market would go up. That was their conversation. I'm sitting there going, what planet are you people on, is what I was thinking. So you're there, you're under the air raid sirens. What's going on as far as this rotation, pulling troops out, wave 2, or we call it wave 3? What's up?
Just, I would say, regrouping, reinforcement of the troops. It's my personal point of view. It's nothing about like stop the war and I mean and destroy the plans to invade the whole Ukraine and so on. So, and this is reinforcement, and you probably heard about Belgorod.
We're going to talk about that next.
Okay, so it's just I think it's a period for both armies, both sides, who are using it for the next before the next phase will start.
Let me ask you this. Do you expect, or do you anticipate, I mean, you're there in it. You're hearing, of course, even more than I hear. I'm a part of a lot of the inside stuff you are, and you guys send me more stuff every day. We're nonstop talking, but unless something changes, are you expecting a push for all of Ukraine, or they're just going to be satisfied And even though we know Zelensky, general staff, says we're not giving up 1 inch of ground. So does that make you think that Russia may want to push for all of Ukraine plus Poland or Baltics or whatever else they think? Is that the long
Yeah, we
term plan?
expect it. Yes, I think it's not a plan of 2 weeks. I would like to all of this finish and we won in 2 weeks or something like that. But I think it's not. The reality is the war and the plans is it's not for a week or two. They had a plan for a week or for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Just easy walk was welcoming people with flowers and the gifts and thanks. Thank you for delivering us from fascists and so on, from
I
banderas.
I
But
did
this is
see
not about that.
there were three plans from Russia. There was a 3 day plan, a 30-day, and a 60-day. So
Hmm.
we know that they have, I mean, listen, these people aren't stupid. We may not, you know, they may do a lot of ignorant stuff in their planning and we make jokes and we talk about it, privately when people can understand Ukrainian culture. We don't talk about it on the stream. That's me and you or others talking privately. But the reality is you're naive if you do not think that Russia had a longer term plan. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Belgorod. That's the big news today in the world. In fact, last night when I finished the stream, you were sleeping. We had talked before the stream, and then Belgorod was attacked. I think you sent me the message. I sent you a message back, and then I asked you, why are you not sleeping? And I then messaged you and said, watch, they're going to blame this on Ukraine. Remember?
Yeah.
That was 24 hours ago. Now
Hmm.
we have a lot more data. We have information. So let me go to a map first. We're going to show everybody where Belgorod is. So
Hmm.
love the maps, man. Love the maps. People enjoy the maps as well too. So we're going to do blue today. The color today is blue for the Ukrainian border, and this is the north and moving down to the east. Okay, now we're going to do some orange circles. Here's Donetsk, here's Kharkiv, here's Kiev, here's Chernigiv, here's Sumy. Then we're going to go to a red. Right here is the town in Russia that had a strike against it today. How far is Belgorod from the Ukrainian border? 40 kilometers?
Yeah, seems to me 40 kilometers,
Okay.
which is 20 some miles.
Okay. So it's north of Kharkiv and it is east of Sumy. Okay. So the news came out that it was a fuel depot, uh, a big place, and maybe some other buildings were struck by the Ukrainian military helicopters
Hmm.
and blown up. Now, I actually have video of this. It will show helicopters flying very low. It will show the fire burning. It will actually show the strikes from the helicopters, and you'll see
Hmm.
the missiles or whatever they are from the helicopters come down, and then you'll see the helicopters come in behind them. And if I need to show it twice, I'll show it twice. But I'm going to show the video in a moment, Jania. But prior to that, this was propaganda war major today. You start talking. In fact, let me show the video first. Let me show the video
Mm-hmm.
first, and then we'll talk about it. So, folks, here is the Belgorod attack. This is the fire after the attack, early in the morning in Russia, Belgorod. I mean, it's big. It's a fuel depot where military is refueled. Here is video. Watch. There's the missiles coming in. There goes the choppers. One chopper, and you'll see the second chopper. There. I'm going to back that up again. And... oh, I didn't mean to back it up there. Missiles. I'll pause it. Bam. Top, middle. You see a black thing. That's the chopper. Watch it flying across the screen. Another missile. Big hit. Second chopper. There it is. Middle of the screen above the red B. Now you're going to see the choppers leaving. This is somebody outside filming it, flying really low. How low the second one is. So that's the attack. That's where it happened. Now let's talk about it for a minute. Did Ukraine do that?
Mm-mm. I don't.
Not at all. Folks, Ukraine did not attack that place. First of all, there's one thing you have to understand. Ukraine doesn't have that type of chopper. Okay? Number one. Number two, Zhenya, this is the point you and I were talking about. Where's the Russian air defense?
There were no sirens. It means that they didn't. I don't believe that the Russian air defense couldn't see two helicopters, and it's not a super, ultrasound speed, something like that, helicopters or something like that. It was 40 kilometers from the border, helicopters, especially right, not just in the forest, like 5 kilometers, but they got deep inside, and it's like there is a plan.
There is a plan.
What I believe.
So, JDO, saw your question there about Chernobyl. That's actually coming up like number 8. We're on number 5 right now, so hang in there. There was a couple of reasons that Russia may want to show that Ukraine attacked them. Number one, coming up over the next couple of weeks, they are going through a large recruiting process for new soldiers or conscripts. They're looking at raising up to 150,000, like 125 to 150,000 new soldiers, quick training, and get them in the war. But this is also done for propaganda to build the morale. The morale is suffering, not only in the Russian military, but if anybody gets the truth in Russia and it can kind of break through, some questions can come. So it's a morale builder potentially for Russia. It's also another reason that Russia can unleash heavier munitions. You have to understand that they actually attacked their own place. Remember, this has also happened in Belarus, where across the border a couple of weeks ago, there were attacks on border cities. And Zhenya, you were talking about this. They will then, the propaganda, that's the topic of tonight's program, they'll take that video, edit it, show it to their people on their propaganda, and oh my goodness, Ukraine, so evil. Of course, they won't show that they've destroyed Mariupol, Kharkiv, Izum, Chernigiv, and I can just keep listing. Kidnapped our people, murdered people, leaving them in the streets, none of that matters because two little places in Russia have been blown up. That's what we were talking about.
I think it's I think it's not just about the moral.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is some attitude, and for getting back, let's say, the troops from the on the north side of Ukraine, there is should be some. I mean, some talk started, in society, or what's going on, and are we losing, and so on. It's and on the with that kind of background, they need to, from the 1st of April, this recruiting period starts, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people doesn't want to go. Young guys doesn't want to go to be recruited and go to Ukraine. Even they call it special operation, and this is reality, and it's low motivation, and it's not just about the moral and the motivation they're trying to create, let's say, to yeah, there is different tools which is possible to use. If I'm right, that next period will confirm it, that in the close to border territories which was under attack, it will be much easier, for example, to state to establish martial law, and then it's the process of recruiting converts to the other level, let's say. Then it is possible to take all the young people there, and
So let me help
it's
that
just
get
other
clear in
story.
English. So what you're saying is
Yeah,
when
thank you.
Russia can say, hey, we're being attacked now. The enemy is now on our territory. We're now on the defensive. Now, levels of martial law can be stated and put into action in Russia. And then the drafting process changes. They can more, uh, they can at a quicker rate force these young guys to go to war due to the declaration
Yes,
of martial law. And we have martial law because we were attacked.
yeah, it is possible.
Okay. Um,
Anyhow, Ukrainians are not attacking the territory of other countries. We never did, and we don't do it.
you know what? That's exactly what your president said as well. You're not a nation that attacks other nations. You're defending. Now, as an American, you know, we'll leave that for another topic. I'm ready to roll them. Number 6. According to British intelligence and U.S. intelligence, Mariupol is getting ready to fall. It has done an unbelievable job. There were some people, Russia established a peacetime, a quiet time. That's what they call it, a quiet time, where there were a couple of thousand people that got out of Mariupol today, but the humanitarian convoys coming in, they would not allow them to come. So it's still completely blockaded. And you actually told me probably 3 or 4 times I've shown the video of that leader of the Azov battalion talking about defending Mariupol. And he came out with a statement that says they're going to fight, they're going to defend Mariupol, and he will be the last one standing there. He's not leaving.
Yeah,
I mean,
commander said
the
this.
commander.
They don't believe. Yeah, the commander. Don't believe any fake. We still alive. We still fight, and we don't have this. Let's say this habit for the commanders are leaving to be safe, and his soldiers are still fighting. No, he said.
So
In our place, I will be the last one who will leave the battlefield.
Can we say it this way, if it's okay? If Mariupol falls, that regiment that has defended that city from the center, every one of them is going to have to be killed. They're not leaving.
They are not leaving.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. You know, folks, I'm going to show you a video right now of some people leaving Mariupol today during the quiet time. And that's what they called it. If I had changed this video to black and white, I could have convinced you that this is World War II. But this is not World War II. This was Mariupol today, April the 1st, 2022. And by the way, folks, on this stream tonight, day 37, there is no April Fools. We don't joke on this stream. Now we laugh and have some good time and try to get some stress off of Zhenya, but there's no April Fooling. Everything we're showing you is the truth. I'm not going to come at the end and say April Fools. I promise you, not with this topic. So this is today, Mariupol. So I saw three things there, Zhenya. You got a warning?
All is okay.
Okay. I saw three things there. I saw, of course, the family leaving on the wagon with the donkeys. And to be fair, Mariupol's a big, beautiful city, but when you get out into the villages of Ukraine, many people still have carts like that for moving their moving their hay back and forth to the fields. It's rural, agrarian. But that was coming out of Mariupol. You all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also saw that Lada at the end that had Deti, children, written on the back window. Mm. But then I saw another car that had a Z on it.
Mm-hmm.
Why was the car marked with a Z?
Usually there is two kinds of cars with a Z. The one who is used by occupants, Russian occupants in territory of Ukraine. The other one when somebody is like trying to lead and support this pro-Russian idea. But I doubt it's the second.
Okay. Let's go to the next topic. This is topic number 7 tonight. And unfortunately today, real news, the nation of Moldova became a disappointment for us. I'm going to go to the map and show it. Let's erase all of the, we can leave that. This is all the West. Many people do not know where Moldova is. Of course, you and I have been there many times. Let's finish out the Ukraine map with Crimea. Is it okay if I add Crimea?
It would be not okay if you would not add.
That's right. That's all of Ukraine right there, folks. Okay, now the country we're going to talk about right now, we'll just go with let's go with a dark brown because we're not too happy with their actions today. This is the little nation of Moldova. Zhenya and I have traveled together to many, many times. And I'm going to put a little red here. This is Transnistria. Okay, the little strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine that's basically Russia. So, Zhenya, what happened with Moldova today? that we're not happy about?
Moldova, officially, the president announced or like declared that Moldova is a country who will hold or stay on being neutral in this situation. They will not take the any decision to make sanction against Russia. So, and they are still helping some refugees.
Yes.
And from Ukraine, it's just a fact. But concerning their sanction, they are not supporting any decisions like that. So they're doing nothing against Russia. So they trying to be neutral. So like helping refugees and nothing against Russia.
But that's a
Not as
that's a problem because of what we discussed. And now I'm going to go to the map one more time and let everybody know why that's a problem. We'll go with the pink on this one here. And Jania, you and I many times being in Moldova together, we've had some tough times there. We've had wonderful people. Don't get me wrong. I love the people of Moldova, but the government can be very challenging. We've had challenges at the border, some that were not our doing, some that we may have contributed to and had to get a little help. I'll leave that story for another time, not for the public consumption. We've had passports taken in Kishinev. If you remember years ago, I had to go to the American embassy. I've never gone to an American embassy traveling. I take care of myself, but we had passports taken. We were in an accident in downtown Kishinev, and then the next thing you know, and you can confirm, the police were paid off. We watched it, we videoed it, and it was not our fault. The next thing you know, it's all our fault. Passports are taken. We're in the police stations, and we can't leave Moldova. And I think it was you, Zhenya, that came to me and says, hey, get over to the American embassy and see if we can get any help at all. And I did. I went to the American embassy and went in. You go into the little waiting area there. I'll never forget it. And the lady behind the counter or the glass working, of course, she was Moldovan, working for the Americans, and the secretary. And I said, I would like to see the consulate. And I spoke to her in Russian. And I think Rostik was with me. I want to see the consulate. You have to make appointment. Make appointment, come later. I pulled my passport out, put it on the window, and I said, I'm an American, and I have a right to see my consulate. I want to see him right now. Hold on. And she went back. Next thing you know, here comes this American, and I think he was from Tennessee, but he was the one of the on the ambassador's staff there in Moldova. He came out. He said, come on back. There's no other Americans there. And I went on back with him to his office, and this is what he said. What on earth are you doing in Moldova? I said, well, I'm down here ministering, come across from Ukraine. He goes, well, what's the problem? I said, the people I'm traveling with, some of their passports have been detained, fake wreck, and trying to get money out of us, pulled our passports, not letting us leave the country. And he goes, oh, they pulled the old wreck on you. I said, yeah. He says, I'll take care of it. I came back to you guys, he made the phone calls, and God blessed us, and we got out of there. But that's Moldova. Now, what's the big problem with Moldova going neutral? I'm going to explain it to you. So right now, this is not completely accurate, but pretty close. This is the area that Russia's in control of. They want Odessa. If they get Odessa, they'll get this little strip of land here. They already have Transnistria. Since Moldova is neutral, that means they have it. They're neutral. So now, if they control all of this, the Black Sea, the Sea of Azov, Transnistria, and Moldova. Now let me zoom out. You now see the entire south, north. It presents a major problem for Ukraine. So we were very disappointed today that Moldova went neutral. Another major nation in the news today was Armenia, Zhenya. The reality for what is happening with Armenia came out today, and I'll let you tell it. But Turkey discovered that Armenia is supplying Russia with airplanes.
Oh, it is not proved, let's say, international on the international level, but there is some pictures, there is some news, there is some satellites data, let's say, and about supporting that officially not, but not officially, Armenia is supporting and helping with aircraft to Russia and
Regardless, I mean,
so
it'll be
sorry,
validated.
it's not surprising, and it is
No,
not surprising, but it's like it just it just shows reality. And right now, the things about South Ossetia
mm-hmm.
and the Abkhazia and Pridnestrovia and the other territory, let's say, created, let's say, with the help of Russia. Like, I
Well,
mean,
can we say it
like,
this way? I mean, Turkey's already proven it. It'll come out next day or two, America, and Britain will say yes, that's accurate. But we already know it's accurate. We've seen the video footage. They're supplying, but beyond that, Zhenya, um, you know, you're in Ukraine. You're fighting for your freedom. You're fighting for a wonderful nation. You're fighting for the breadbasket. You're fighting for peace. You're fighting for your own territory. It just doesn't feel good to your heart when nations that you should be friendly with, like Moldova, and we're appreciative for their refugee work, but them saying neutral is just not the best thing. And then Armenia supplying, it's like being picked for the team and you
it's
wasn't picked.
it's
It
like
just don't
being
feel good.
agree.
It
It's
is
like being
agreeing.
being agreement with
Hmm.
what's going on with the killing of thousands of people, kidnapping the kids and the families, and destroying their houses, destroying our economy, and killing not just soldiers, killing civilians, people, killing kids, teenagers,
Hmm.
women, and then blaming it all that in unofficial TV, blaming that it's in reality it is Ukrainian army fights with Ukrainians inside of Ukraine, and it's just like that. So they bombing Mariupol. Ukrainians are bombing Mariupol, and so on. Like it's this story. So and every country who, like, I mean, in these situations, like uh, it's like being a witnesser of, I don't know, of man beating, I mean, the girl and breaking her arms, and standing there like right in front of you and say, hey, this girl, it has not my family name, it's my neighbor's family name, so I'm neutral in this. And
Correct.
it's then it's like, I mean, it's like
We
it's not just this wrong situation, it's just completely support evil,
correct.
because it's well known, and the whole world knows that we are begging and help, crying and asking all the world help us to close the sky. Why? Because we don't have possibility to close out the sky. So and the Russian army using our sky to destroy, demolishing our cities. They just bombing us. We can do nothing. We have no we have no one country yet of like who like stand with us and their army on our territory, helping us to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
We are on our territory, and in this situation, when some country who like who at least somehow we were pretending or like having a nice they were telling nice words to about Ukrainians and now saying and say we know nothing about that. We not support no one of you, and it's
Uh,
obvious for us who is beating and who's struggling. But
JDO
it's like
has, I think, the perfect comment for what you're thinking. He says, "You never know who your friends really are till the chips are down." Applies for people and countries. And I hope, brother, which you already knew, we're not just friends, we brate, we're brothers. And that is why we're committed dopo Betty until victory. There was another question in here. Can you answer this? I don't know who's in power now. Is Moldova communist or did they elect some other party?
they're not communist. They elect the other party.
Okay.
No,
All right.
not the communistic party. Or no.
Okay. Number 9, and we'll be getting out of here in just a minute. Chernobyl. People were asking earlier in the chat about Chernobyl. What we can tell you is the first Russian soldier is dead from radiation poisoning in Chernobyl. He died back in Belarus. We do know that a minimum of 40 Russian soldiers are hospitalized due to radiation sickness and poisoning. We also know that the general population of the world does not understand Chernobyl. Folks, in 1986, that was a catastrophe. But within that radius around Chernobyl, it's still a catastrophe. That is why the workers live in Slavuch and they transport in to work there still to maintain the fire that is burning under the sarcophagus. The only people that live around Chernobyl are the older people who said, listen, this is my home. If I die here, I die here. I'm not leaving Chernobyl. Or they have to sign a document that they understand they're living in a radiation zone. So Russia went in, did all this activity at the Chernobyl nuclear plant. When they left, they took Ukrainian military and guard with them. They kidnapped them and they forced the folks upon their departure to sign the documents. Can you explain that?
Shortly, yes. They signed the documents. They forced our people who was working on like this Chernobyl place and like controlling the radiation and this object. This I mean they say yes, this place, and they made them to force them to sign a paper that they have not no any arguments with the people who were protecting protecting this territory during that time from February or like beginning of March until now that and it's like official signature of Ukrainians there. Surely they by this protection it was they it mean they captured our soldiers who was really protecting this place. So all of these soldiers were like captured, and now they took them to Belarusian territory for the next change of captured, and the one of representative of Rosatom signed that paper as well, like officially showing that Rosatom representative was on the territory of other country which is not illegal, killing and doing something according nuclear station of other territory, which is sounds like Rosatom supports terrorism or something. I'm not the specialist in it, and
The bottom line is it's a mess. Chernobyl turned into a
yes,
mess, and people do not understand how dangerous still it is around Chernobyl. And when you start digging in the dirt and you start messing with the equipment and stealing the equipment, we could have another pretty good disaster by one little mistake, and we could have another disaster.
it shows it shows the real attitude to Russian soldiers of their commanders. That by giving orders, you have to dig the trenches here in the red forest, and where in the depth of it there is radioactive parts, and you will get surely the dose of radiation by digging deep. So like it's like why? And I don't think the commanders did know about that. And as well, they're using tanks in the same places, which like lifts up the small dust, let's say, of radioactive dust, and then because of the wind and so on, it's just moving. Then I mean to other territory. It's like I mean there's no sense. There is
No sense.
no wisdom. No, just sorry. It's like stupidity. And now these soldiers, Russian soldiers, are there. I mean in the special hospitals, surviving.
Does you question coming in? Does Ukraine have any air support? I mean, yes, we have we have an air force, and we need more planes. We have great pilots, highly trained pilots. Um, we've lost some,
But
but we've
it's
gained some.
we have some pilots. We have absolutely just a few, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
airplanes. It's not enough, and not equal, let's say. If I mean not equal by quantity and by technology. And but our guys doing miracles, let's say. And this is like I need. I will go back. It seems to me now. Sorry. And our guys does great things as a pilots, and later history will show the statistic. But by closing our sky, we don't have even nothing close to be able to close the sky to fight with all of these cruise missiles, and with that quantity they shooting on us, uploading like 50, 70 in one time from different places. It's
Tomorrow night,
different directions.
I'm putting together a piece on the Antonov 225, the 225, the biggest airplane in the world that Russia destroyed immediately upon the beginning of the war, and just very interesting to show, the brilliance. And Ukraine has already said they're going to build that back. We're going to go to number 10 now, Zhenya, and get you some rest. Lots of messages in here tonight, very active in the chat, and people wishing you well, seeing you're tired, seeing you're stressed, and just giving you love tonight, bud, knowing you're having to pay a high price to be on here live with us a couple times a week. Ted Morris writes, Poland, which in 1941 was blitzkrieged and soon fell and became totally occupied by Hitler's Nazi control, 70 years later became a refuge and a sanctuary for those in Ukraine fleeing their homeland. God's redemptive spirit at work, protecting godly refugees who God has given asylum there. It's a
Yes.
really good comment. Poland's a good friend, man. All right, let's go to the last
Yeah,
one.
the brothers.
The last one for tonight, folks, and it's Friday night, and I have Zhenya live. Win a few extra minutes tonight. Complete isolation propaganda. Complete isolation. According to the Russian mass media today, the Ministry of Education of the Russian Federation sent a letter to universities asking them to transfer their content from YouTube to Russian platforms such as VKontakte and RUTube, their own YouTube. It's like complete isolation, and you see this as a good thing in the long run. I'm going to show a video. Let me show the video first of the lady, so we just understand people are lost inside of Russia, but when they're lost, it may make them reach out to learn. So this is a interview of a Russian lady. We have it translated, and I added the English text to it. Here we go.
Как вы считаете, вот сейчас в условиях санкций в России оказалось, что нет запчастей ни на самолеты, и даже подшипников не можем выпускать. Как так получилось?
Ну, как так получилось? Мы же люди простые. Да, лично меня все устраивает. Я на самолетах не летаю, и подшипники мне не нужны. Ну, вот как-то так. Да меня все устраивает, что у нас в нашей стране есть. Я, с одной стороны, я патриот. Я всегда за то, что делает наш президент. Я полностью его поддерживаю.
А патриот — это значит быть совсем согласен, я правильно понял?
Ну, не совсем. Не всегда не совсем, но в большей мере да.
А что такое не патриот?
Ну, не патриот, человек, который вот на настоящее время там кричит «нет войне», там, или кричит «вот, у нас такое хреновое правительство, у нас нету сахара, у нас нету лекарства». Это неправильно.
А что нужно делать?
Ну, я не знаю, терпеть или как, но я считаю, что лучше потерпеть. Я противник всяких массовых мероприятий. Вот таким образом.
А каким же образом тогда можно докричаться до власти?
Ну, на этот вопрос я ответить не могу, не знаю.
So there you have it. That's just a view of a normal, honestly, probably a nice Russian lady, just completely lost. So now Russia wanting to completely control the mass media and education. How does that turn out? What happens? What are your thoughts?
Why did I say that I want to Fadake would be faster in that? I would like, because the vector surely it brings to them to isolation. So the people of the young people and middle-aged people, they used to have, let's say, at least some choice of information sources, and if it be blocked, surely they already using VPN software for having access to Instagram and the other services, which is good products, and they're used to have it, and when it be blocked, not just filtered as they already have it, but when it be blocked, let's say completely, it will design for people whose process of thinking is is active. Let's say it will be sign of something going on, and I hope it will turn again against of it, and it will motivate people to look where is the truth. That something is wrong, something going on. We need to find out what's wrong.
You got to the point.
Why
there,
is that?
And that's the power of propaganda, and really where we want to close it tonight. When everything is locked down, when everything is closed, at that point, that becomes an opportunity for people to start investigating, trying to figure out. We were talking earlier, man, you grew up in the Soviet Union. We were talking about it. I love, you and Rostik and of course, people much older than you telling me the stories of the Soviet Union. That's how I've become educated about the Soviet Union. It's not so much from books, but it's from talking to people inside these countries for 25 years. In Soviet times, you remember Somebody would find a radio and could get a broadcast from some freedom station, and all of a sudden it would start the investigation and just the thinking. We have to understand that you come from a military family. Your father was a communist. He was a major in the Soviet Union army, and his job was to educate people or communicate about the party. What was his job?
He was. They were calling him political worker. Political worker. It means he was like a propaganda. He was responsible for ideology, attitude, and let's say the motivation to be against of the West world, against of United States and all of these countries. So it was his responsibility, being propaganda man in Soviet army.
That isolation, you can't control it. Like that lady was asked at the end, how do you get to your president or get to those in power? I don't know. I can't. But when people are closed out, they become inquisitive. And yes, governments control, governments lock down, governments do what they're going to do. But then, you bring in the spiritual equation, and the spiritual equation is there comes a point where the kingdom of God has to intervene.
It cannot be hidden, let's say, at least for a big group of people. Maybe this group of people, a lot of them already left Russia, but I think the huge group of people will start to investigate, will start to look, and will start to check the facts and to compare the facts from the other sources and the local sources, let's say their TV, and maybe it will change something. I don't know.
We shall see. But you've got experience in that, and that's what is key. You watched it in your own life. You watched it in your own families. That's why I respect what people say. I listen to it. But if you've never lived under that kind of regime, which you have, you really don't understand. And you can say, and you can look at it and go, well, it should be this way, it should be that way, it should be this way. You've never lived under oppression. Never.
Okay, let me give, maybe it will sound like a compliment to Russia propaganda. But they are high professional level people. And for example, there is two moments I experienced it when my relatives, who originally are Ukrainian, and they lived close to Moscow. And in 2014, after Russian TV brainwashing process, they reached me, called me, and say, "Hey, have you supported Maidan and that fight for freedom?" I said, "Yeah, I've been there in the medical team, and I was helping people, trying to save as much lives there when 100 people were killed." And she said, "Okay, so you are not our relative anymore because you are fascist." And we didn't communicate years, but some TV message made them to do it. The other one example is one guy who was in our youth ministry years ago, and he got to Russia to work because of work. And after 2 or 3 years of working there, he sends me a message. "Zhenya, do you know that in close to Lvov there is something like Hitler youth camps for making young teenagers, Ukrainians, making them fascists?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "No, I know the facts." And then he started in 2014, he started to tell me the things. I know what is reality. It's a war inside of the Ukraine. Not Russia is nothing to that. I said, "Have you had received any refugees, family in your home? He said, no, but I did. I said, I did, 3 families. Okay, have you visited them there? No, but I know for 100% that I know the truth. And then I realized, I said, okay, I will not fight anymore. You're wrong, absolutely. Your brain are washed. But this is, and until he got here to Ukraine back, he couldn't see the difference. Even when he was picking up the sources, all the time he was linked to Russian sources. It's like a magnet. The
You
the
know,
the, the, the truth.
it's and this is why, we're here every night. We're here to educate. And I know, especially for Americans, this is so difficult to comprehend. It is so, honestly, folks, it's impossible for you to comprehend if you've never experienced it. And it's easy to say, oh, what do you mean propaganda can change my mind, unless you've been under it. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, CNN's propaganda. No, folks, you don't understand. It's not even close. Fox is propaganda. No, you do not understand the complete control that these people live under. This is why we're telling the truth. This is why Ukraine is fighting for freedom. Ultimately, we want freedom even to come to these nations like Russia in the future, that the gospel and the truth of God would hit their land as well. But you have to understand, this is a very complex subject, and it's not just some political hack can get on an American news channel and start talking like he understands the culture. You cannot understand the culture unless you've been in the culture. You cannot understand oppression unless you've been oppressed. You cannot understand the power of communism and socialism unless you've experienced it. And that is why we're here tonight telling the truth, because Ukraine must win this war, and Vladimir Putin and his evil regime must be defeated. That's where we're at.
Yeah, and still, like, it's really hard to understand, but it is reality that are the mothers of that soldiers from Russia. They are blessing, praying for their kids, for they would find and destroy biochemical laboratory in Ukraine. They would find some American or British specialist who is working in that laboratory. They fighting. They are in the process of, like, or asking people, where's your Bandera guys, and so on. And it's like, this is, some, and they were like brainwashed even as the army, that don't worry, we are taking you there. The people in Ukraine, they don't have army at all, and all of them will meet you and greet you with the flowers. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not about 100% of people,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them were believing that why they are fighting to us, why they are using this Molotov cocktail against us.
They didn't
The
understand it.
woman. Yes,
That's
and why we came to deliver you, to make you free,
why are
and
you
it's
fighting?
like,
Why are you fighting against the deliverers? Exactly.
yes, it's a question which, like, usually, and it comes up, and usually it's repeating, the story is repeating all the time, but again, it's I don't like,
It's complex.
it's
But that's
complex,
why
and
we're
it's
here.
it's
Jacob, that's why we're here every night. That's why you're serving at the shelter, the refugees, serving the soldiers, serving Ukraine. That's why I've given 25 years of my life, and I plan many more to Ukraine, because we love it. We know the truth. We understand the complexities of it. And we just want the world to know we're really doing and supporting this nation, and we're not going to stop. And I know for those of you watching that sometimes this may be a little difficult to comprehend. Always feel free to send a question in. If I see them in the chat, a lot of chat going on, I try to pop them up. But honestly, we're telling you the truth. And it may be hard to digest a little bit sometimes, but we know the scripture says the truth will set you free. And of course, that's the truth of Christ. So keep coming each night, step by step. We're learning this together. Zhenya,
Yeah.
thank you, boss.
Let me enter something.
Yes, you may.
Yeah. Who was I mean, he was interested in Maidan. He was reading something about Maidan. On Maidan 2014,
Maidan,
the
just one
February.
second. Maidan is
Okay.
in Kyiv, where the snipers were working in 2014, and there was an attack in downtown Kyiv. You remember this? Buildings were on fire. It was basically a major attack. Zhenya was there serving. That's Maidan. Go ahead, buddy.
And from one side, there were the snipers, highly trained teams. From other side was the people, civilian, with no any guns, just people with the sticks and who were like demanding the freedom, let's say, to stop corruption and so on. And these snipers were killing that people one by one, killing headshots and so on. And to see it like this, you see, it's like it's not just unfair. It's no one can push that. Any button can use the rifle against like 15 years teenager who just stands in his helmets
Spot.
from for I don't know, for skateboard, and with a stick it says, "Hey, freedom to Ukraine." But it happened. 100 people killed, even more.
You were there serving as a medic.
And now it's not the same, but comparing the army and the country who was much more bigger, with the nuclear weapon, with thousands, I mean, tanks and airplanes and bombarders and so on. They attacking Ukraine, who has no any shield. We don't have shield. It's let's say it's other sticks. Yeah, sure. We aware what's going on. We aware that we don't have this shield. So yes, we're trying to survive in that, and we beating them where we can, and we will fight. We will not stop, like as a country, and we will, and we pray. We pray for God's miracle. We cry for God in all places. But the picture is very close. Let's say there is a brave people who are fighting for freedom, and there is other side who is like, I mean, trying to destroy people without protection. And now the world seeing, let's say, it's a war. It's simulate. I mean, it's very close. As for me, the picture. But
principle.
let me finish the principle. But I want to say that time we didn't see that international family supports of that time. It was some, and even from 2014, I was like personally, like, had situation when people were asking in other countries, what is Ukraine, where is it? And now it's no, not now, it's other situation. And I want to thank everybody who helps now, helps now to not have the same situation about Ukraine, and who are telling truth, who are interesting to help us, not just to survive, but to be protected spiritually. For everybody who pray for us, who pray for people's heart now, who pray for churches, there is a revolution, spiritual revolution is happening in Ukraine, And this, sorry, but sometimes I call it like, okay, I will not bind it to any nation, but this idea that if you're a real Christian, you're a real strong believer, you have to be at home and pray, and not being on the streets or with the guns. God will answer your prayer. Just sit at home. Jesus didn't. He wasn't sitting, and I think he was strong enough in his prayer
Yes.
area. But he wasn't sitting on just on the mountain, on the top of the mountain, and praying all of his these 3 years of ministering. So like, and it's the same. It's taking. I mean, it's God is checking it, even churches in Ukraine. So thank you for helping. And okay, Greg, nobody heard it. I was. I mean, we were checking, sending a lot of messages and say, hey, will you people like if you want to come to support? And I got the one answer. Why you from Christian believer? Why are you asking me to help in helping serving refugees in the refugee center? You better if you would be offer a new Bible course. I will read. I mean, I would Bible lessons. Give me a couple Bible lessons, and I'll be sitting at home. I don't want to go there and have time with the people. I want give me just new Bible course. I said, okay, now it's practicing our Christianity.
That's right.
Crying with people, praying with people, praying for healing, serving them, and being church who is visible for them. And so, thank you very much. And without the support of you people, you friends, brothers and sisters, it wouldn't be possible to do these simple things like buying medicine, filling the tanks, like for after to transportation people, like from and to different places, and buying food. I mean, a lot of. So it's this is what encouraging me. Thank you.
Well, you stay
Because now,
encouraged. And listen, here's the deal. I was in Maidan just a few weeks after it happened, and I had already had a trip scheduled to Ukraine. I was there, and you took me to Maidan, and we walked Hotel Ukraina. We saw where the snipers were. You took me to where the sniper bullets came through the trees. You showed me where most of the 100 people that were sniped and killed, you showed this guy was right here. Here was his picture. There was still flowers there. It was unbelievable. I've seen it with my eyeballs, and nobody can ever take it away from me. I have all your stories from when you were putting your hands on people that have been sniped to save their lives. Nothing can ever change that. So now in 2022, we're in phase 2 of the war. There is no way that I'm not going to support Ukraine. I'm willing to stick my neck out each night to tell the truth, because people need to know the truth. It doesn't mean we do not love everybody and we want the best for everybody, but it's the truth that sets people free. So, brother, we're not going anywhere.
thank you.
We love you. Eat. We're going to work until victory. There's the heartbeat. We love you guys.
From Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Extra long stream tonight because it was a Friday night and I had my man here live. So Jacob, thank you. Get some rest, and I'll be talking to you. Stay in the green room, and I'll holler at you, tell you good night or good morning.
One more time. Thank you for supporting Ukraine and work in Ukraine and helping refugees, helping churches, helping people who lost their jobs. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
We love you. Thank you. Continue to give, continue to share. Here's our graphic. I'll throw it up. Pastor Kent doing a phenomenal job administrating all of this. www.blwc.org. You can give there. Remember, one Applebee's meal a week makes a huge, huge difference. We love you guys. Good night. Peace over Ukraine. We'll see you in 22 hours and 30 minutes. Good night.